Hello, hello. So I felt like making a video about what's going on in Israel right now. I've made another video re- um, before about how the truthers are, I feel, misusing the word Jew and Zionist in their videos because it's already been determined that these are fake Jews and fake okay, so they're Zionists, but at this point, it's like maybe let's use a different wording because most Jews and evangelical Christians and even some Muslims see themselves as Zionists. But on another note about Israel, probably seen the news reports about rockets. I believe it's like 1,000 rockets at this point. Now it's hard to confirm the truth here, right? Do we have um, records of any of that stuff? But anybody wants to say that's not happening. So I have a client in Israel right now. He missed a session with me yesterday because he was hiding from the rockets. So you want to say that this is not happening? There's your little proof there. Um, you know, there's footage. You can say these are crisis actors, it's all fake. Up to you. But I'm just saying, I have a client who's 14 years old and they were hiding, most likely in the bomb shelter or in the hallway or whatever they could go. Um, if you like, if you still don't believe me, I have relatives living in the southern part of Israel where most of the rockets usually reach. I can reach out to them and see how they're doing. Um, Last time rockets have been hurled at Israel, I was actually there in Israel. I was up north, and so the rockets didn't reach, but again, my relatives were running from them into bomb shelters. Yeah. So anyway, I was very confused. I'm like, are there still rockets since Trump signed the Abraham Accords? I thought that's it. There won't be any more assaults like this. Um, so I tried to tap in to ask, for higher guidance, and I've seen several things. Now, none of this I say is to take for, like the truth. The whole point of this is I share mine, what I saw, and I'm very well encourage others to tap into their higher self and see what they get. That's the whole point, right? We are moving into 5D, which is trust yourself, not another person. But so I'm trusting what I saw, and I usually, when I see something, I confirm many times just to make sure that I have a good understanding of what I see. A lot of it is very symbolic. So the first thing I saw, I did it twice because I just felt like there's more information. I have more questions. Um, it was just still more confusing. So I did it twice. The first time is just shown, again, this is symbolic, but like I saw a guy in a suit or something in an office building, and it kind of looks like, when a company is bankrupt or something and people are just clearing out and making a huge mess. And it looked like the guy was just pissed off, angry. It wasn't so much rage and hatred, it was kind of like a sore loser. Like he had like the bottom lip pout, like kind of thing. And he was hurling stuff in all directions out the window and just all directions. So to me, like that kind of was interpretation was like, because I seen a post that a lot of times the when the rockets are hurled at Israel, some of them fall inside of Gaza itself because the rockets are coming, let's say, from Gaza, and so they were saying about the post that I saw on Facebook was 1,000 rockets were reached Israel. Most of them usually get intercepted by what's called an Iron Dome. And then it said 200 fell inside. So it's like when I saw the vision, it just felt like everybody's gonna get it. So to me, like the interpretation was, they're trying to do the cabal are trying to do as much damage as possible, and it's very disorganized, and it's just like I'm gonna hurl as much as I can out of just spite. Let me just do as much damage as I can. Another vision was more confusing. So I'm just gonna share it and then you interpret it how I like. I'll share how I interpret it and you interpret however you wish. And this also came as a response. So I saw another post on Facebook in a group that has nothing to do with Israel or Islam or what's going on. I follow a group for Khalil Gibran, who was a Muslim, but who's also American. And none of his stuff that I've seen has anything to do with Islam or Jews or anything like that. It's more of like philosophical, spiritual stuff. And somebody felt the need to share a post just saying a Palestinian 6-year-old girl killed by an Israeli troops or something like that. That's it. No background information, nothing. It's just a picture of her, really cute, smiling. And of course, you get a slew of comments of people, oh my God, they're so horrible. Israelis are so horrible. And this is worldwide. People, like you can see these were not just Muslim names or Arabic names. And so I just wrote a response like, there's no background information about this girl. That's it. That you just make a post and just people just believe it. There's no background information. How did this happen? Where did this happen? Just because you say Palestinian 6-year-old girl killed by an Israeli troop, that's it. Like people right away believe it. And then so I sat down and received, like I felt like that post was put in front of me by my higher self so that I would see how quickly people just see a little post and right away just lunge to it. And in the visions, I saw two things that kind of symbolize this narrative. So one was like a mother being like she hid her baby in some kind of enclosement, and I saw like kind of like just this mother was being dragged away from this baby by whoever, some kind of authority, whoever. But when I zoomed in on the baby, something was off with the baby. It's a cute baby, but then something was off. Like I would just like constantly see something is off with the baby. Something is just not right. Something like bleh, constantly like kind of scary about the baby. And then it would just like resume like all being so innocent and sweet, like a typical baby. And then something again was just like off. I also saw I guess the only way like I can interpret it is like a spaceship escaping Earth. And then like this black, huge, almost like a bird looking thing followed the spaceship and grabbed onto it. And at first you would think like this black bird or whatever it was the evil, right? It looks so scary and attacking. So it kind of grabbed onto the spaceship, and this spaceship turned out like morphed into some kind of other monstrous, big monstrous thing. Almost like what was those movies? Like Transformer kind of thing, where in reality it looks so like the Transform, it looks like a car, but then it transforms and turns into like this crazy thing. So it looked like it was like it was just the spaceship was like a shell, and it had like arms coming out like a crab or something. And they started fighting, and this black bird kind of wins. So the interpretation that I get from those two images is like everything, like whatever you think is bad or evil that you're seeing, not like if you really have to look at it from, you have to like first wait and see how it manifests. And not everything is as it seems. So this innocent baby is something else. And the evil can enclose itself into something that looks good and innocent. That's kind of the interpretation that I get. Like this black bird could be like, oh my God, it's so scary. That's the evil, but it's actually just the powerful. And this spaceship morphed into something else. Like it was hiding behind something. So like there is something always, right? Not everything is as it seems, kind of thing. Sorry, I had another one and now I'm blanking on it. Okay, yes. So once I saw those two visions, I had a sense there's more that they want to show me, but I started feeling fear. So I stayed with that fear. It was like the fear of knowing the ultimate truth about Israel because of born into, the Jewish lineage and the Jewish identity, and technically being Israeli. My heart is with the Jewish people. My heart is going to be with the Jewish people, regardless of what you tell me, and is going to be with Israel, regardless. Like Israel is, yes, let's say it was created under false pretenses by these evil, but it stands, and those people that live there are innocent. And have been the victims of all of this too. Just like, I don't want to say Palestinians, because like I keep hearing the Palestinians, like show me documents that Palestinians were real people until 1960s, where Yasser Arafat actually called them Palestinians, created the PLO. Show me actual proof that there was a Palestine as a sovereign entity. I would love to see it. Palestinian genocide, what is that? Show me proof of that. I would love to see it. Because that's not what I saw, or the apartheid. That's not what I saw when I was in Israel for a year, at all. So, right. So the third vision that I saw, like I was just kept being hurled like underground, while like just trying to overcome this fear of knowing that darkness. And then I saw just whatever robotic entities or some kind of I don't want to say monster, but some kind of entities. They were working on they were creating the chips. And then I saw the jab, And so the jab was put into a person, and then I saw this person stand up and push a button and just kept pushing the button. So this kind of, and I was like, okay, am I being told like whoever is shooting the rockets is under influence? Whoever is carrying out the terrorist attacks overall is under influence. This is not me saying like that there's a chip in the vaccines. I'm kind of staying out of that right now. But this kind of just showed to me that there is. Or just symbolically saying that these people are fully under the control of the cabal. They're, they're like just robotic. Maybe it's the MK Ultra, maybe it is the chip, but it just kind of looked to me like these people are completely been taken over. You know, when I see the jab, right? It's people. It doesn't seem like these people willingly knew what they were getting themselves into, and that they were willing to partake in all of this. It's like they were fooled, like people are being fooled with the jab, and now they're fully under control. And I feel like these visions, what I was shown, you know, I think it's really important for people to realize that both sides are being used. And, you know, if the BLM and Antifa riots have not been enough of proof, because the moment they happened last summer, I was like, oh, this is just straight out of the PLO handbook. All the headlines, the way they read are like mostly peaceful protests. It was the exact same narrative, like when Trump moved the embassy and the Gaza Strip had mostly peaceful protests, which consisted of burning tires, Molotov cocktails, stripping, attaching explosives to balloons and kites. So they would hopefully move to the other side. I've seen people like farmers showing footages of their farmland that's been scorched. People, I mean, you know, it's hard to believe like what footage is real and which is fake. But that's like the whole point. That's what these images that I was given, that's the whole point. That's what they were showing. It's hard to know what is real and what is fake with anything, even the truthers. You know, like we're listening to Charlie Ward and all of these truthers, David Icke, like, I mean, David Icke, like I listened to some of his stuff and then he said like against like Zionists, like he actually said Sabbateans. So like, well, are these the Khazarians? Are these the Sabbateans? Like, who are these? And he also, the statement that I was like, something is off here as well. Like he said, look at who you can't criticize. Are you for real? Have you watched any of the reports from the UN, the sessions? Anytime UN is in session, you would have like 14 or something, what do you call them? But like strikes against Israel, right? Like complaints against Israel. To one in Sudan, where there's still you know, civil war has been going on, children killed, you know, for so many, like, you never hear it from the UN. So it's like you get 14 to one in Sudan, one in North Korea, maybe one in Muslim countries, like you barely see anything, right? I'm like, look at who you can't criticize. As a Jewish person, I've grown up my whole life blamed for everything. The stuff that the truthers are saying, and I said this in my previous video, it's the Jews, it's the Zionists, it's the Jews on the banks. The Jews own Hollywood. The Jews corrupted everything. The Jews own the media. That was recent on MeWe. Some guy just keeps posting that shit. We've heard about this for years. My parents in Soviet Union, like even though Soviet Union was isolated, like they dealt with it on a daily basis. And then David Icke is going to come out and say, look who you can't criticize. We've been criticized for 2,000 years. Justifying pogroms during the Russian monarchy. It's like, we are the Christ killers. And you tell us, like, look who you can't criticize? We're blamed for killing Christ still. We're all blamed, right, for the corruption in Hollywood, the banks, the corruption, and the financial corruption, and it's always the Jews, right? It's even though it keeps saying like the Vatican, the royals, are they Jewish? No, but the narrative always keeps moving towards the Jews. Or you want to say it's the Jews that own the Pope and the Vatican? Like, and isn't it like kind of common sense at this point that it was intentionally set up that the cabal, they basically took the Jewish religion, claimed that they're also Jewish, and perverted everything so that whenever something goes wrong, there's always someone to blame. The same ones. I mean, I've heard it from Blacks even, like when I was a kid in high school, a really bad high school, not because I belonged there, but because I was zoned there. Like, in US, you have zones. So I was just zoned to this bad high school. This group of Black kids, they were like 13, 14 years old. They were just basically having a discussion why they hate Jews. Nobody's calling out Black people attacking Jews in New York City constantly. If you don't believe me that happens, like there's actually footage constantly. You never hear that, right? So when you can't criticize, now we can't even hold, the blame shifted on the police as well. But look who you can't criticize. The one that breaks the laws, the one that doesn't listen to authority, right? Resists arrests. So yeah, this is a very entangled game, but I guess this just kind of further goes to like, be careful what we're all listening to and who we're listening to. Everything has layers. Everything is not what it seems, including the truthers. Because we're all people, I'm not saying that they have malice in their hearts or they're fakes or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to bother trying to tap into understand every truther or David Icke or Charlie Ward or whatever. I don't think it's worth time. I think overall is just not everything is as it seems, and be careful who you're listening to. So yeah, just felt like sharing all of this.